out of town and was away most of the time on, troubleshooting.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids had a drug problem because I drug them to church every time the doors were open.
Yep, I understand. Us too.
Okay, I did not know how. That's what's coming with this doll ministry. In the Catholic Church, you pray the rosary, and don't get me wrong, speaking to God because you know you want to love Him. I had just as much love that way as I do now.
Mm-hmm.
But He's taught me how to talk to Him.
Right.
And
it was a one-way conversation before.
When we did the beads and we did the salvation, plan of salvation, God spoke to my heart in the middle of the night. You've got to tell them how to talk to me. So they have a card now.
Mm-hmm.
Not only tells them how to ask Jesus in their heart, but how to talk to God. I mean, it's still evolving in so many ways that it's just unbelievable.
All right. So how many dolls have you?
We've just passed 87,000.
87,000. How many foreign countries?
Lord knows, I know we had over 17. I mean, we just sent to India. We've sent to Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
We've sent to China. We've sent to South Korea. Places I'll never ever set foot on.
Yeah.
But when I get to heaven, I'll meet them.
That's exactly right. Well, we're sending shoes this summer to Jamaica. Have you been to Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Jamaica, we'll take them.
Good job.
As long as we can get them there. But we're going for vacation. My middle one is graduating from high school, so we're going anyway. So we're going to take them, and then Uganda, if we can find a missionary that's going, because that's the way we do things. We've
got a pastor in Uganda that has been waiting for 3 years with me to get him.
Really?
Because I can't get him to him.
Okay.
And so the door's open, and I have to wait till it's his timing, not mine.
Right. Well, we're working on an orphanage in Uganda, and if we can find somebody that's going from here to there, we'll send both shoes and the dolls with them, and then your guy
You can always stick the doll in the shoe.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Put them in a plastic bag and stick them in the shoe. That's 500 that they just brought in now. They're small ones.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. So who influenced your servant's heart? I mean, I know it probably came from...
It had to be Jesus. Because my parents, they were from Canada, and they went to church. Mom used to have the priest over for Friday dinners,
mm-hmm.
But they weren't, I can't explain it. They knew to go to church, they went out of obligation.
That's right. So Jesus is great, but who did you see somebody on earth that was in your path? Nobody. So it was just him.
That's what I'm saying. It was Jesus from the very, very first. I used to admire some of the nuns. In fact, I wanted to be the Carmelite. And one of the nuns actually was teaching me how to do Braille, write in Braille.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to admire her. But it wasn't their walk that did it. It was when I was in that church, there was something that was just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always there. My parents and even my brothers, when I tried to share them how much more I knew, like I told you, have your religion, we have ours. Don't talk to me about it.
Right.
But my mother and father accepted the Lord personally when I found out.
Nice.
So I mean, I know they're there. My brothers, that's for God to work out. I did my part. I tried. I got shut down. I put them in His hands. That's what you have to do when you can't reach your own.
Yeah.
You have to pray that God put someone else in their path until He gets them. We did that with Joe's cousin in Baltimore. He didn't even go to church. But he kept looking at me and wanting to know what I had and what was so good and everything. And I told him, I said, Richard, you can have what I have. Well, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Well, when we came home from Maryland, I sat down and wrote him a letter telling him exactly how I learned and what I've learned, because he was brought in a Catholic church but didn't attend. And I told him, Richard, you can believe me or not. I know where I'm going and I know where I'd like you to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you accept him or not, it's not in my hands anymore. I've done what God put in my heart. But I'll be praying for you. Well, I was praying for him, all right. I prayed that no matter what, if I couldn't reach him, that God would put him in some position that somebody would come into. He ended up living with Christians. He lost his business. He lost his wife. And when I prayed, God, do what it takes, take them, break them, fill them, and use them. Yeah. That's what happened.
Say that again. Take them, break them.
Take them, break them, fill them, and use them.
Wow.
And, well, you know, I can't not, you know what I've been telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Right for you. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
When someone's there in my heart, and it's the same thing when I met you, I can feel the burning desire that you have. And there are times that I have to admit Joe will get upset with me because I'm doing better. Because at one time you could not move in this house till we had this little shop. It was all here. So, and I do realize he has to have clarity around him because the work he has to concentrate on, he has to be able to do.
Right.
Basically, like he said, someone from Samaritan's Purse wants to come and interview me the 3rd. And he said, you're going to bring him into this house, the way this house is? I said, it's not my house.
Yeah. It's not.
How we got this house alone is a story. Because when we went to Nicaragua on a mission trip, my heart was broken for Santa Rosa. They would meet under the on the foot of a volcano, under trees for their meetings. And the kids would come and they'd try to feed them. And my heart came back when I knew I couldn't go back there. I wanted to build a feeding station. We have no money. We have no bukus of money.
Right.
We were living in the log cabin that Joe built over on Newtown Road here. And I just knew that we needed to do that, but it was 2 stories, and neither one of us could do the stairs anymore. I couldn't keep up. It's fit spot to have real estates in and out everywhere. So you know how Jericho, they walked around Jericho 7 times? Well, I walked around that building 7 times, the house, and prayed to God, and give me wisdom, give me wisdom. And then it was like, Lord, let someone come to this house without ever a for sale sign on it, so that we can build that feeding station. And Lord, you know we need to move. As God is my witness, that's exactly what happened. Not only did it happen that way, no for sale ever went up, but I told them when we sold the house, I am not leaving until the feeding station is built. And if it's 3 months or 6 months, I cannot leave until I know that feeding station is built. They agreed to that. So when God tells you to do it, He also provides the way.
Yeah. Well, and you know our story. I mean, we started in 13, and I ignored him for 2.5 years. And you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. So we were with Samaritan's Feet. I was in that church right next to Trinity, Bend Heights.
Right.
Looking at the back, we would invite 300 kids, and then 50 would show up. And God spoke to me in 2013. He said, in July, He said, you need to go. And He said, stop waiting on them to come. And I
you need to go get them.
I brushed it off for 2 years. The exact same happened. Same thing happened July of 2015. I was standing in the exact same place, looking out that door. The kids were not there, and God says, you need to go. And I told Him no again. I didn't do it. No. So then my wife, who's a nurse at Unionville, had a little boy, and his shoe sizes were it was two sizes too small, and so she took the picture. I still have it on my phone, and she sent it to me. And God says, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Let's go." So I'm hard-headed, I guess, but also one of the pastors that's on our board, he said, your heart might not have been ready, because if you saw the need but you weren't doing anything about it, your heart may not have been ready to accept like everything that's happened
and go full force
and go. So we just passed 4,100 kids in the last 12 months because we finally listened and did what He told us to do.
This is something. Even with this ministry with the dolls, I never, in my wildest dreams, figured past the 50 that we first started.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew was, whatever you do, wherever you go, wherever you send, I'll do. And this little ministry for dolls, you'll see on the table, there's the basket for Turning Point.
Mm-hmm.
When the material comes in, that's the other thing with this ministry, that you know it's God's. Number one, it's not a denomination.
Right.
Number two, it's not a non-profit. And I've been scolded about it. And you know what? I still stand on what I'm doing. Because it's not government. Every single donation that has been there, you saw all that material,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a touch of it. Everything that has come in here has been given without wanting a tax deduction for it.
Right.
They're giving it because it's Jesus, reaching Jesus. There is not one bit of things. We don't even have a checking account because what comes in, just like the material I just gave Rita, it goes right to it. But nobody has ever wanted a tax deduction. They're not doing it to get something back for it. They're doing it because they love Jesus and we need to reach the world.
Awesome.
And this is part of what I'm doing. I can't understand how God can use this little old lady.
Well, he certainly has. There's no doubt about it.
The material that comes in that's too heavy, that we can't use for dolls, we make hygiene bags. And the hygiene bags have Jesus Loves Me, besides all your personal stuff, and then it gets the cross in my pocket.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. All right. So I know we've talked about it, but the dolls themselves your goal is to get these obviously into kids' hands, and then they take them home, and
They
then
get into the homes.
and then they read them, because a lot of times they're embarrassed if they're getting shoes or whatever. They want to take it with them, and they don't want to talk about faith. So we had a little boy who didn't have anything to do with dolls at that time, but it had to do with my youngest. She washed his feet down in Marshville, and then she said, do you have Jesus in your heart? And he said, yeah, whatever. He kind of blew it off. But it happens, 14-year-old boys, 15-year-old boys. She said, no. She said, I've been through it, and you need it. And he said, you're right. And he went and talked to the pastor right then. So so whether it's a doll, whether it's another kid, it doesn't matter. But the dolls themselves are doing a huge mission.
When we went to the Dominican Republic on a mission field, we went with a Ken Turner, and it was a sad, sad thing because I saw something that I didn't care for. But I knew I was there to be used. Mm-hmm. And they were going around, and at one point they actually went to a radio station so he could sing and do everything about Ken Turner. And
was this the guy in Charlotte? He owned like some businesses or something?
He's a singer. He sang with Gold City. But it was all about what Ken Turner's doing. But I told Grace, I said, I did not come on this mission to sit here while he's up there singing.
Yeah.
So her and I took off and we went door to door. And we were blessed. There wasn't anybody that didn't ask us in. But we're getting ready to go back. We got a few days left. At one point, I had taken my shoes and given them to one of the little girls that didn't have shoes, and I'm walking around barefoot. They're on the bus, and he's bringing a piano to somebody that's going to do something in church. And I said, I cannot sit on this bus. I'm not here to do this. Now I'm barefoot, like an idiot. We had a form paper that told them how to ask Jesus in their heart in Spanish on one side, English on the other, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And on the back, they give their name and address, and we turn into a pastor who would then follow up. Mm-hmm. Well, I get off the bus, and there's these kids. Now I've got my little salvation beads, and I've got these forms. Well, I got a hold of the one little one, and I just got a hold of her, and I couldn't speak it, but I would point to that in Spanish, and I'd point to this, and I'd know what she was reading, and go back and forth, and she wanted to ask Jesus in her heart, and there was a place to sign everything. Well, there was nothing to put the paper on to sign it. So I go around the corner on this cement wall, and I'm letting her write. In the meantime, other kids are coming around. I mean, they're coming. I'm almost ashamed to say it. Do you know what the wall was? It was an outside bar and grill.
Yeah.
And there I am telling the children about Jesus.
Hey, whatever works.
But they all came and they knew him and they got their deeds, they accepted him. And I turned around and I watched these guys looking at me. And guess where I went next? Right into the bar.
Absolutely.
They were laughing hysterical on the bus. They thought it was the funniest thing when they saw where I was. Because I was so excited to teach the children. And here I am in the bar.
Did they talk to you, the guys in the bar?
Some of them did because they didn't know what it was about. When they seen the kids excited, they wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know.
Surprised? I'm surprised you didn't get any of them.
Some I won't know because they got that form no matter what. And it's the same thing what you're saying about boys and you know the tracks that we have? Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I leave them in bathrooms.
Oh wow.
Because nobody will read them when they're out with their friends.
Yeah.
But they'll take them home.
Mm-hmm.
I used to handwrite letters to whom it may concern whenever we went on a trip, telling them how to ask Jesus in their heart and leave them in the bathrooms. And if you don't think I can't wait to get to heaven to see how they went.
Yeah, no kidding. What do you look forward to and what do you dread, like as far as your ministry? What
There
do you,
isn't a dread, there's a concern.
which is?
The ministry is growing and will grow more. We don't have a place. He's taken away another room there.
Really?
So we're into one room. Wow. 2 years, they said, I'm looking for a place and it'll be big enough for both of us. And there's going to be plenty of room. And when we went in there, there was that whole room on the end, that long one. And then when they took that one away, they said we could use the white room and the other room. They just took the white room away, and now we're in one room. And meantime, people are coming. So God, it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
He will somehow open a door. And when I spoke to Samaritans a long time ago, now we're with them pretty much from this beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And we send them $300 a month.
This is Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
Okay, and where?
All year round.
And what do they do?
Nations Ford Road.
Yeah, what do they do with them? I mean,
They take them to all the countries. I will never know all the countries they've been in.
yeah.
We do those cars.